It's 10 o'clock, so I'll say you're calling Mr. Baby order. Ask clerk call the roll, please.
Ron Kinsley,
Here.
Ron Buckholz,
Present.
Tom Duffy is excused, John Righeimer,
Here.
Stacy Hessel.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item is the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Number 4, certification compliance open meeting laws.
This meeting was noticed to the media and the public as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Number 5 is the meeting agenda. The agenda is set. Number 6, public comment. Ms. Linda Zoomer.
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner. I have 2 items written on my form. One is concerned with holding open meetings that are of interest to the public. So for example, there was a special ad hoc committee created, multi-dwelling development committee, because there were 2 attempts to pass some zoning ordinance amendments that weren't working out. So it was best to bring all the town representatives together to work on it, and they'll meet later this afternoon, and they've really made a lot of progress. It's gone really well, I think. Right now, starting at 9 o'clock in the old assembly room, there is the second meeting of a group of people who were not appointed by a county board as an official ad hoc committee, but are working to update the Sawyer County Land and Water Resource Management Plan. And by not having those meetings noticed, the members of the Land, Water and Forest Resources Committee cannot attend, even though they are the committees of jurisdiction, because, so for instance, right now, Mr. Karianen's in there, but nobody else could attend with concerns for open meeting law. And of course, my phone, my good old iPhone just failed me. Also, if the county would please consider adopting a policy that when there are concerns with services or operations of the county, the public has a mechanism to bring that forward other than public comment, which some matters are not appropriate. So at a HHS meeting, there was a citizen who was very concerned about how she had county services provided or not provided to her, and she used a lot of public comment to say things that probably should not have. That was not the appropriate channel. The other avenue that the public has is conflict of interest. Well, not everything falls under the conflict of interest, and I've done one of those, and really my issues were not what I wanted to bring to the ethics committee, but I had no other mechanism. And then I guess lastly, if you'll grant me time, I heard somebody mention Monica Isham, and I think it's very important. I communicated to some of you about an editorial that was printed in the Sawyer County Record, but it wasn't from people here locally. It was from the Eau Claire Leader-Telegram editorial, the APG big staff, commenting about, and I believe it's also politicizing something that they were not fully informed about. I sent an email to Paul Geyer and Matt Milner and trying to find out where they, if they did any homework to base their assumptions on the claims, because I think it did not accurately portray what is going on in Sawyer County. And I would encourage people to watch the recording of the Public Safety Committee meeting where Judge Isham explains what has been going on. And I know we have a new reporter here in the room, and I would hope that maybe after doing some fact finding, the Sawyer County Record itself will maybe explain what the facts are and clarify things. And I just also want to comment is that when I reached out to the Eau Claire Leader-Telegram, as you know, I always do my homework. I tried to find out a little bit about the people who are on the editorial staff, so I understood maybe they do know something about Sawyer County. And when I talked to Mr. Milner, I expressed a concern with something that he posted on a LinkedIn public site, and he accused me of stalking him. So, if you want to use social media, and somebody reads what you post, you're not stalking them. Thank you.
Is there anybody on? Thank you. Number 7, consider approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Now, we had our regular administrative meeting, and we also had 2 other meetings, which were in the process of hiring our administrator. So I guess I want to do the minutes individually. I know it takes more time to do that, but that's, to my mind, the correct way to do it.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes from May 8th.
So we have a motion from Mr. Righeimer, second by Ms. Hessel, to approve letter A, draft minutes of 5/8/25. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Letter B.
I'll make a motion to approve the admin draft minutes on 5/9/25, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Buckles to approve letter B, second by Mr. Righeimer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And letter C.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 20th.
I have a motion by Mr. Righeimer, second by Ms. Hessel, to approve letter C, minutes of May 20th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your valuable time getting that done, in my mind, correctly. Letter A, confirm nomination of county administrator candidate, Mr. Mike Markran. Discussion, possible action.
I'll make that motion to confirm Mike Markran as the county administrator.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Ms. Hessel, second by Mr. Buckles, to confirm the nomination of the county administrator as Mr. Mike Markran. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This goes to the full board for the same item as needs to be approved at the full board before it's.
Closer, Mike.
Thank you. And thank you, Mike, and congratulations. The steps so far we've taken. Okay, number 9, appointment, discussion, possible action, appointment of representative of Northwest Regional Planning Economic Development Fund Administrative Committee. This comes from Sheldon Johnson of Northwest Regional Planning, sent me a email and followed up with a letter. I shared the letter with Mr. Markran. And so we have to provide a representative. Andy Alvarado was a representative. I asked Mike if he's interested in doing it. He said, absolutely, he is.
Do you need a motion to appoint him? I make a motion to appoint Mike Markran, should he accept, to join Northwest Regional Planning. And I'm sorry, can you remind me of what committee?
Northwest Regional Economic Development Fund Administrative Committee.
Yes, thank you.
I'll second.
That's my motion, yes.
The motion by Ms. Hessel, second by Mr. Righeimer, to approve Mr. Mike Markran as the Northwest Regional Planning Economic Fund Administrative Committee. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of them?
I'd be happy to do it.
Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And letter B, it lets us know that that's when they meet, is by virtual on the 3rd Thursday of the month, which is good to know. Okay, moving on. Number 10, county clerk report. Ms. Klein.
This is our report for the month of May. The towns and the school districts have been paying the election expense invoices that were sent out. Marriage licenses are increasing now. It's that time of year. Dog licenses have slowed down. I just want to shout out to Laura Bruce. She's been scanning the resolutions and she's all the way back into the 1980s now, which those are those big books that she has to take apart and individually scan. And they're all searchable PDFs now. So you can search our website by words and look for topics and things all the way back to the 80s. So that's been a great project that she's doing. I'm attending a WCCA conference next week in New Glarus for a few days. And the second thing is the open records report. So this is just the generic report from Next Request. Talking to Desiree, who does most 99% of these, she is not liking this program. It's doubling her work. So I don't know, at the end of this contract in December, Mike Colson and Desiree and I had talked about reviewing if this is working or not. It's good in some ways because you can track this stuff. It's not really bringing in revenue. The people don't pay. But the bigger issue is it used to come to departments. So people would get an email for a record request and they could just answer it and get it done right away. Now it has to go to me and it all has to get put up here and it's glitchy. The documents don't always load and the person can't always retrieve them. So they're still getting back and forth in emails and we're still using a lot of emails just to do these. So I don't know if this is a department head discussion we should have at some point to see how the people feel about using it. But really, for the most part, all the record requests are for the sheriff's department. So we should probably look at the pros and cons of this sometime by the end of the year before renewing it automatically. And the only other thing I wanted to say about records is every government entity in the state got a record request from Sunlight Report, which is, has to be honored because of the statutes. So we added them. The county decided to add them to our list of media that we send our stuff out to. But in addition to the agenda, they also want all of the agenda packet materials. So legal looked at it and Rebecca and Andy Phillips looked at it and put out an announcement through WCA that it's not worth arguing with them about that because that's basically, that's an open standing records request that you could say they're not allowed to do, but then they'll just keep, they have an AI way to request the records every single time. So if we don't do it and we send them just the 3-page agenda, they'll just respond with a record request every single day for every single agenda. So I just put them at the end of all of our committees. So when you guys get your packet from me, they're also on there. If you were to expand that mailing list, it says Sunlight Report because I'm already sending you guys the full packet. So now I'm sending them the full packet because I don't think the libraries want hundreds of pages. They just want that one thing on the bulletin board. So that's where that stands right now. If you have any questions, you can email me.
Yes.
Liz, I got one question for you. On the public records request for the sheriff's department, we never get aware of that in our public safety meetings. Can I ask what they're looking for?
So some of it is a person has a fender bender and they want to get the police record for their insurance company. Some of that is just run of the mill, easy, no big deal. Some of it is social media platforms that are exploiting video. They wear those video cameras on their uniforms and they want to see a person crying in a corner in an assault that happened. They want all of this information so they can repost it on YouTube. And some of the requests are kind of outrageous. But so then that requires the sheriff's department to have to redact all of that stuff. So those record requests are always running behind on the timeline because they require so much staff work to do. And they do them anyway, but having to go through this program and upload them and do all of that is extra steps for them where they were just doing it themselves internally. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, the board wouldn't know what the sheriff's department's doing if it wasn't going through this. I mean, having it go through here, we're seeing it.
Yes.
So that's a plus for this. But I guess my only, my only reaction when I see these come in my email every day is the sheriff's department is really overburdened with these records. It's like nonstop barrage of those records.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So also when this was established, if I remember correctly, was our zoning department was getting bombarded. And so we were trying to figure out like if it's just one person or if it's multiple people in all of our agencies we're getting. So we task that to our clerk to ask for some sort of way to track like what is taking the most of the county's expense, time.
It does do that.
Yeah. So I feel bad that it takes up, a lot of your time, but I feel like it's a better avenue unless we can think of a different avenue to where we can still track that so that we know what is happening.
I don't think we can if they just go to people's emails. I think this does gather, but they don't all go through here. So people can walk up to the counter and make a request. If you read the public record request, they can walk up to the counter, they can do it by a personal email, they can call on the phone and ask. They can be anonymous requesters. So it doesn't track 100%, but I mean, so like Jay or Kathy will still get an email that's not on here, and unless they upload it to here in order to track it, if it's just a quick answer, it doesn't always get on here. I get record requests a lot, and I just answer them immediately in an email, drag a file over. I don't go to the step of putting them on here for mine, because I'm not going to charge money for them. The purpose of this really is to invoice people. This is an invoicing program.
Right, because it was the second step, because originally it was really raw, where each agency was they were calculating their own time on what was being spent on constituents and taxpayers, so, and non-constituents and non-taxpayers. So, I mean, there was a lot that was involved in this request, because I know it came to fruition in the last 3 years, so.
Yeah, so maybe we can do a better job with maybe a department head meeting of like really focusing on what we're using this for and maximizing it for those reasons. Because right now, everyone's kind of just wondering what to do. They get these and they call me, what do? I got this request. How do I get these documents on here? You know, no one remembers because they don't get them that often. Maybe we should just learn this better to make it more effective.
Thank you.
We did have training on it, but it's probably been a year now, so.
Sometimes the training doesn't do good, you gotta redo it, yeah. Thank you. Number 11, Information Technology Report. Mr. Mike Coulson.
Mike had a meeting at 10:30, so he has to be excused, but his written report is here.
Has everybody had a chance to read his report? We'll go to number 12, Human Resource Report.
Rose is not here either, but I'll speak on her behalf. With HR, there's not a lot we can say about it, but one thing I do want to point out is from the time I started here until now, we've seen a big uptick in both the quality and quantity of applicants for our openings. So that's been a very nice movement for us.
Yes, there was a time we used to get, for a highway, we'd get 50 to 100 applicants, and that went away to 1 or 2. And now it's back up to 5 to 15, which is nice.
Nice.
As an example. Okay, so we'll go to number 13, Interim County Administrator Report.
All right, so there's been a lot going on with personnel. First of all, I've really enjoyed all the diversity of duties. I'm kind of used to that, so I feel reinvigorated and ready to roll. I'm really appreciative and honored and humbled for the opportunity. With personnel, some things I'm looking at are bringing over some things that I've done in the past. Number one, I'm looking at our onboarding process, making sure we're doing everything we need to do and that everybody's getting all the information that they need, all the departments. And then the second thing I'd like to bring in is a 30, 60, 360-day check-in process. Basically, you're re-interviewing people after they start to see if we're doing what we said we were going to do as far as supporting them, make sure they have everything that they need to do their job appropriately, and if they have any challenges or see opportunities. As you get down the road, then you start asking even deeper questions like, is there anything from your last job that you think we could bring to the county to do a better job with within your department? Or is there anyone from your last job you think would be a good fit here in the county? So it's a way to value employees and get their input and make them feel more part of things sooner. So I'd like to bring that in and kind of roll that out at a department head meeting. I'm also working on department head meeting structure and like to bring in a little professional development component each time we meet. So I'm working on that kind of thing. Airport, the project is basically wrapped up. We were open yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Monday and Tuesday for prior approval flights to come in and go out. This weekend will be open for people to come in and out freely. And then after Tuesday, it should be again. And then a month from now, at the end of July, more towards, we're going to do the painting and the grooving. So then after that, project will be complete. It's finished ahead of schedule each step and really pretty smooth. The crews have been great to work with and I haven't heard any complaints about noise or commotion or anything, and I don't think Derek has either. So it's been as good a project as he can for that scale. Ambulance, I've been meeting with John pretty regularly. I'm meeting with him today if we get a chance. I got a kind of a tight schedule. I'm just going over operations and looking at efficiencies and things we can improve in. Broadband, we have wrapped up all of our ARPA projects now. Those are all completed and paid out. So we've really, that was about a 3-year project getting all those done, and it's good to have that completed.
Once depleted then?
The ARPA funds have been depleted, committed and paid out. Some other things, strategic planning, I met with Lori and Ariga from Extension to look at the process and the scope of strategic plan. It's something we've wanted to do, been needing to do, and I'm meeting with them again on Monday to kind of lay out a structure, a couple different options of different depths. I have an idea of a depth I'd like to see, but we'll talk about that and then bring it to the board for approval. Writing a few resolutions, that's kind of fun to do. One for Bass Lake and then a couple to reinstate some funding, that federal funding that was taken away in April. So we'll send those on to our legislators and go from there. Maintenance has done a great job. They just wrapped up, trying to think of the name. Justice Point was a little earlier, and now
They've been down there.
they switched. No, Justice Point is down at the end where child support was. So now we did child support. They did a Huber roof. We're getting windows in there as well. We're doing some things at the airport, painting windows and HVAC systems. That is being funded by money we're getting for the disposal of the pavement that we pulled up for the project. So that's free of cost to the county. The Gen Com project is moving forward. We just passed the financing of that at the Finance Committee. That'll go to the full board next week. Economic development, actually Ms. Hessel and I went up to Washburn, the city of Washburn, not the county of Washburn, to look at a 40-unit workforce senior living housing complex. Very neat process, got to meet some good people, connected with the administrator up there, Mark, and we've gone back and forth with some emails now, so that was a good connection. Even that alone was worth the trip up there. County budget process will officially kick off today, as I'll send out to the department heads and the outside organizations the instructions for that. And other connections I've made, I've been on the Hayward Downtown bid, the Business Improvement District, for a couple years now, still on that. Went to economic development last month. Unfortunately, I'll miss it today because I have a conflict with the ad hoc committee. I've had 2 meetings with Mark Rose from Discover Wisconsin about the possibility of partnering with them to do something for Sawyer County, a little promotion. And I guess that's all I've got for today. Any questions on anything? Sure.
What are you guys thinking about getting out of that trip you made to Washington?
Yeah, like
Possibly getting some other housing?
I'm sorry, go ahead. Do you want me to
You can
speak on
speak
it?
if
Or
you want.
Okay. Made aware of the project is a community project. It was federally, state, and locally funded. And so just trying to see how, the steps that they did. And we do have that 40-unit housing project still going up by the hospital there. So just seeing maybe what's that going to compare with. So also an opportunity to introduce Mr. Markren to other people that are doing different things for their counties and county administrators. So it was more of a introduction on that level and seeing what other counties are doing. Not that we have to simulate what they're doing, but just to have more diversity in our thought process. So
Yeah, even hearing the different process they went through to get their helps, because we all recognize that housing is an issue in Sawyer County. It is a limiting factor in a lot of other things that, you know, you talk about something, oftentimes it goes back to housing. Mr. Righeimer and I have talked about that on a few occasions, and it comes up often. So we know the problem, we need to get to the solution. That was a step to get some information on a solution.
Okay, thank you. Number 14, Veteran Service Office report. Gary wants to know why he got pushed way down the agenda. There was a reason for it.
That's all right. Yeah, well, good morning. So for May, we had 498 phone calls, 772 letters, emails, and faxes, and 242 office visits. In comparison to last year, it was 577, 501, and 224. The difference, I think, was despite us being out for 6 work days, we pretty much matched, in my opinion, what we did the following year. It's just this time of year, our snowbirds are coming back, and other people are still moving in to our community, and we have maintained a busy workload. For disability compensation pension claims, as of the end of the month, we had 72 disability claims to date and received retroactive payment of over $187,505.99 for initial payout for claims decided in the veteran's favor. Our initial financial impact comparison for 24 was 87 claims and $144,268. So this goes back to talking about claims, how long it takes to process. Some of these claims has an impact. The severity of the disability has an impact as far as the financial money coming in and out. So you can see the contrast there. La Crosse Vet Center, we co-managed and hosted 5 individual and two group counseling sessions for our veterans. And for our outreach, Coffee and Conversation with Gary and Nicole was canceled last month because that was the week we were out for training. For social media recap, we had 185 followers, so we're up 4. 157 visits, and that was up 15.4%. 144 contact interactions, that was down 12.7%, and 465 views, again, that was down 15.9%. And let's see, training. Well, we're up to date on our training. It was a good session in Superior. We learned a few things. But I think the biggest takeaway, I left feeling good about our office, to be quite honest with you, not to toot my own horn or our office's own horn, but I think we're, from what I see and what I hear and the cross communication and stuff that came up, I know we're doing the right things the right way. So anyway, not that we can't improve, we can always improve, and that's what keeps you at the top of your game. So quite satisfied with that. Minneapolis wasn't bad. They updated us. Some of the programs, the updates, and change out of personnel. We get to put new faces to offices that we deal with on a weekly basis. So it was a time well spent. So time well spent in the seat versus virtually. Virtually, you lose touch. I think you don't get the full gamut of what you could get from sitting in a meeting and listening to the different briefings and being able to ask questions, and then that cross communication within that group that showed up even after the classes are dismissed and you're moving on to something else. So I can't say enough about that. So that pretty much sums up our summary for May. We, on occasion, so I give you, the antiseptic version of what we do every month because we obviously can't talk about a lot of the stuff that we do in a public format for, protection of ourselves and the veterans that we serve and their families. But I'm wondering if there is a tool to talk about some things that we do that you are probably not aware of and we don't normally discuss to anybody. But I think it's important that you know some of the stuff that we do in our office in dealing with county offices, state offices, and federal offices, because every month it seems like we're in a running gunfight with somebody or something or some organizations, and obviously without malice, but trying to improve their processes and our processes and take care of the veteran or the veteran's family at the same time. And it can be touch and go, and actually quite fun. But because I don't mind a good fight for our veterans as long as it's correct and we're not standing outside the fence or the gates trying to get in. But so I guess I'm asking, what format can we do that is not, obviously it can't be for public, but I do think you should know because you see this and it's like, well, that's kind of nice, but I don't really think you see the shock and awe that our office does provide on occasion with these other agencies.
Well, you ask a very good question. And I have been down to your office, and sometimes I don't hear everything you say because I'm so admiring the Hereford cattle you got on your wall. But I also know it's important for you to be able to vent to people and knowing that they can keep their mouth shut because some things cannot be said outside. So I guess Mike and I can try to work on something to try to protect these people that you need to share some things with.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the individuals, but we have working relationships with other organizations and offices throughout the country, basically. But I guess some organizations, they will sell things. They will sell things as this is a great product.
Okay.
In reality, there's nothing there. And that's one of the cases I'm dealing with right now. And I will tell you this too, and this is a takeaway, just not for any employer, but the employees are going to either make or break an organization. And that goes for the county, that goes for the state, that goes for the federal government too. But anyway, and our office wears multiple hats. We play the lawyer, we play the social worker, we play the medical provider on a daily basis in our office at various levels, at the state, federal, and local, actually, and trying to get things done correctly. Anyway, I guess that's the kind of conversation I think that is missing and has missed, because it's like, well, Gary sits there and does paperwork, and Gary doesn't sit there and just do paperwork. I have to argue. I have to argue legally. I have to argue medically. I have to, argue on the social worker side of the house, dealing with our veterans. We have multiple veterans with dementia, multiple veterans with mental health conditions, financial issues, legal issues, and the whole yarn, I guess, put together. And I think that is missed here. And it's because I'm limited by what I can say. But I would like to highlight on occasion some of these organizations, because of what you do, your position in this county and representation of this county, I think is important. So when you run into these other people that have these other offices, that you can maybe ask them about their issues. a lot of the time, it seems like the people at the top, they assume that things are operating the way they're supposed to be within their organization, but really they're not. And so, and I've got to maintain, obviously, because of our role for the county, we've got to maintain these relationships at all levels, at all levels. I don't go right to the top when I have a problem. There's usually processes and procedures in place at every level, you know, the county, the state, the federal government that you work through. And that's where you really learn if things work the way they're supposed to be working, or if things are being done the way they're supposed to be done. And that's where, you know, that's where our office comes in, putting the legal hat on and going back and throwing, you know, taking the issue back to that office or at the next higher level and representing that veteran. So anyway, I know I'm talking in tongues, but I'm kind of stuck with what I can say and what I can't say. So
Ms. Hussey.
I was just going to say thank you for advocating for our veterans. I know you guys do a lot more than what you say on paper. I've been there. I trust that you and Mr. Markren will work together to try to figure out solutions and bring information to us that we can help with as a county. On the other levels, I'm sure you're advocating as well. But question that I have is I've noticed a lot of people saying that there's federal cuts for veterans, federal cuts. Are you seeing any federal cuts to our veterans?
no,
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's clear
no.
because there was a lot of question at our last coffee and conversation. And so I'm glad that you're.
Right, no. You know, I'm not a mushroom. I see what's going on, you know, in the media, whether it be, you know, radio, newspaper, or television, national and local. I will tell you this, the things that weren't good in the last administration still need improvement in this administration in some cases. There's some offices within the federal VA that I don't know how the hell they have a job, to be quite honest, and that's not being cruel, but quite honest. The things that they've done well, they've continued to do well. So there, you know, it's I'm not going to say status quo. There's improvements coming. I think I see what the Secretary of the VA is doing. It's just the difference between, in my opinion, saying tomato or tomato, and how they utilize their funds and how they support the veterans. As a matter of fact, every administration, and I said this in the last meeting, you know, every administration has come in and has improved veterans' lives and veterans' benefits in some way, form, or fashion. Every administration has moved the ball forward for the veterans. That has not changed. So what it appears to me that there is due to how they want to operationally, you know, manage the federal VA, they're making those changes to basically streamline into their vision of how things should work. I've not had a veteran denied benefits because of that. I've not had benefits slowed down because of this. I've not had, the veterans have not lost benefits for this. So a lot of times what is said, and I think this was mentioned earlier, is you get a part of the story or half of the story, and another key piece was left off the backside of it. And a matter of fact, you know, at our training in Superior, we had a few people stand up, and we need to write a letter to the state and the federal government about, you know, all these bad things that are happened to, you know, veterans, all these cuts. And it's like, and I was the only person that stood up and I went up to the microphone, and, you know, unfortunately 2/3 of my my counterparts were behind me, so I was waiting for stones and sticks, but I said, look, please keep it factual. What is it, to my understanding, there has not been any change in benefits for the veterans at all. They've lost nothing. Nothing has been taken away. They haven't been slowed down in their health care or in their claims processes. And so there has been nothing other than they're realigning. Management is realigning. I'm not the manager of the VA. Who am I to question, what they're doing? They obviously, have a plan on and a vision of where they want to go and to take the VA to the next level. It's not my job to tell them how to manage their program. I will provide feedback if it is negatively affecting the veterans, but I asked them not to do that, not to provide some resolution unless it was factual, mainly because my name is on it. Let's state of the facts and move forward. And I go back to, again, I have not seen one veteran suffer in Sawyer County for a delay or denial of benefits because of, I guess where the current secretary is taking the VA and how they process and, and do their programs. So anyway, I did have some people come up behind me and, after the meeting, after that was over with and said, thank you. So, but they were afraid to stand up and say that. But the fact is, it is facts. It's not feelings. So anyway, questions?
Not at this time.
I just like to really quickly expound on that. As a veteran, just want to say that I have not had any problems with my benefits. My body's broke, so I go to the VA medical quite often, and I get reservations or whatever, quite quickly. I think for comparison to, like, say, you all know when you go to get your an eyeglass or any sort of an appointment, you're waiting a couple months. We're usually a month, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I haven't seen any cuts, anything that's hurt ourselves. And when I go to the VA in Minneapolis and I hear people complain, I do the same thing. Tell me one thing straightforward, an issue, and they just want to, it's a lot of those people who just want to complain. So, thanks.
Gary, if there's something we can do at the federal level or state level that you think we can help you with, certainly feel free to ask us and we'll certainly try to do that.
Yeah. Yep. And that's really what I think more, I will take care of, I will take care of the issue. I will use, I haven't fallen short. Sometimes I get no, but there's good reasoning behind a no. But I really want you educated. So when people start talking about stuff, you have a little bit of background on it and you're able to, basically engage with these people to improve our processes. So, it all comes down to tax dollars, right? I'm here on tax dollars. The state employees are on tax dollars. The federal employees are on tax dollars. And those programs are on tax dollars. And, it comes back to the taxpayer. And if you're saying we've got a process and a program and you're saying that this is there for them, then, let's see how it works and let's make sure it works. So, and that the people that are doing these jobs are actually doing the best that they can. So anyway.
Well, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
We want you to stick around for number 15. Number 15 is Veterans Memorial. At our last meeting, if approved a dollar amount, so I don't know that we need to go into closed session regarding this. I think the next big thing is the concept that we want to make sure we get out to the public, the concept that we have for this area. Anybody have comments or thoughts?
I'll just, thank you for just entertaining the idea continually, and we'll move forward after the decision to purchase the land or not.
So does anybody else have anything else for this item 15? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 16. Finance Department Director position, discussion of possible action. Mr. Markren is asked to, he's already appointed as our administrator now. He also would like to stay as part of the Finance Department. I'll let him speak, and I don't know if we need to go into closed session at this time, but there's some stuff we can talk about in open session. And maybe not have to go into closed session, but we do have it available if we need it.
Thank you. When I did apply for the administrator position and moving on and now hopefully getting it next Thursday, I do want to remain as the finance director. I feel that's work I'm very good at. There's stuff that I can move down to the county accountant. And I think between the two of us, we can get everything done. I put together finance department year at a glance, month by month, quarterly stuff, annually stuff. And I did sit down with the accountant and say, could we do this, move this to you? And I don't know if we'd want to go into closed session for that, because that is talking about job description or whatever, or if you just trust in the work we did. But I like varied duties. I like a variety. I like to be busy. I'm a hard worker. Randy's a hard worker. It's just what we're used to. And we really don't see a problem with me retaining the finance director position. I would push down more of the accounting than I have already. I would still do all of the debt issues and any of that, the heavy finance stuff. I'd still be responsible for the budget. In the future, I would have her do some of the rollout materials, probably have her report at the finance committee. But again, between the two of us, I don't see a problem.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when Tom was hired, Tom Hoff, back in the day, he was doing both as well until he delegated a different position, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not uncommon to have a dual position.
That is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something because I wasn't on then.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or concerns right now? I will share with you that Mike and I have talked briefly, and we know what the company of PAA told us, and I shared that with Mike. So I told him that maybe we should do this as a trial basis for a while, as an example, 3 months or 6 months, or if he sees a problem with it, he can certainly bring it to our attention sooner than that. So maybe review it in 3 months or 6 months, whatever the committee thinks, to see that, is he running into problems because of overload, or is there any other things that we had thought about that have come up? Always open for suggestions.
I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I think the same thing. I know what the consultant said. I don't think it's any of us that we don't think Mike can not do it. We may have the luxury here because that's what he did. And if he can get some support there, there's obviously a cost savings there. I think when I remember our conversations too, if it ever gets to be too much, we want you as the administrator and just let us know. But if he can do both, we check on it, like you said, whenever that is, I think that maybe it's a blessing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys that we should give Mike the chance to see if he can do both, because I know when we were interviewing and I asked about that, he said yes, that wouldn't be a problem. and he would be giving more to Randy. So I think that we should give it like a 6 months trial period. I don't think 3 months is quite enough. I think 6 months would be better. You think that, Mike? No, Stacy? No.
I would still be interested in that information, but that doesn't have to be today. I mean, if we run into issues, we can talk about that, but
That's one thing I want to make sure that we all understand, Mike and our committee, is that if there is problems, don't wait that 6 months. Bring it to us right away. So, if you want to go back to when Mr. Huff was hired, yes, we dumped a lot on him, I guess, because we didn't know. So when we first went to administration, and as Linda will tell us 100 times, that some people want us to go back that way. I do not want to go back that way, but we tried him with him running HR and accounting and administrator, and obviously that was too much, but we learned as we went. And I suspect we're gonna, because the world's always changing, we're gonna learn as we go again. And I just want to make sure that we bring things up if we see a problem or anticipate a problem coming. That's all I'm trying to make sure it's clear.
At the end of the day, I just want to serve the county the best I can. And if I'm not going to let it go where it's not working, because if certain things start failing, then I would be humble enough to say I can't do it.
And we don't want you to fail either.
Yeah.
Same token.
And if you're hearing something's not getting done, I certainly would want to know that sooner rather than later as well.
So you need a motion for this? I would say.
well, so then when we're hiring him, and when we're approving it at the county board level, are we approving him to do both positions? Because it's only worded as the county administrator.
Well, that's a good question.
I think that title could go away. Like as the administrator, I can do the finances.
Yep, it was a point, yeah.
Okay,
So I think we just put that position on hold would be the
Okay.
way to do it. Personally, it's up to you guys.
I agree. So do we need to change Randy's title or does that stay the same?
She's called county accountant, and I think for now that would be all right.
Yep, so nothing really
I
to
guess-
change.
The only thing I would ask her to supervise Cindy, who is payroll. So I don't know if we would have to change her to accounting manager then, which is what Mike Keefe's title was.
Okay,
Whatever we need to do there, we better take that decision now, so.
well, I'll make the motion so we can discuss if that's okay. I make the motion that we allow Mike Markren to do both positions, but adding that county accounting manager to Randy's title. If that's allowable, if we don't have it on the minutes, then I'll just approve Mr. Markren doing both positions.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
So we have a motion by Ms. Hessel, second by Mr. Buckles. Repeat what you said there.
I'm sorry. Well, first I should ask, do we have authority to add Randy's? If not, then we should just,
And that's what I'm fighting in my own mind with.
mhm,
I'm not sure that we need to do that. And Mike as administrator,
and
Mike,
do-
he can do that internally without us being involved in it, I believe.
So then my long-winded motion would be just to approve Mike doing both positions. Mr. Markren to do both positions.
I'll second that.
All right.
Liz, did we do that appropriately so we're not in?
So I have a motion to make Mike Markren county administrator, including the finance job. I mean, so you already appointed him earlier in this agenda as county administrator. So this part of the meeting, I guess, is modifying that appointment to just include that he stays finance director. So I don't know how you want to word that without having it conflict with the previous motion.
So that he would hold both roles.
That he can hold both positions.
Yeah.
Okay, so a motion to approve Mike Markren holding both positions, county administrator and finance director.
Can we, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a pain, but we had talked about 6 months. Do we need to put that in our motion? That we would review it in 6 months?
I would like to. that way we have something to fall back on, and you know what, and maybe at the time there's no issues, but at least we make ourselves review it. Yeah.
Okay, so how about a motion to keep Mike Markeren as finance director for pending a 6-month revisit of our review, a 6-month review at this committee?
That would be both. I mean, that would be perfect to do both. Thank you.
I would just
We're
put
not
6
following
months.
procedure at all, but
I wouldn't put the pending in there, I would just put the
yeah.
6 months. And this is June, so we went on the agenda in December, which is just right. I appreciate the budget.
Yep. And get through that, it's easy.
Do you need any further action on my amendment? Do I need to rescind the original one and include that, or are we okay? I don't want to have anybody write the paper.
We send the person because I announced that we had a motion in a second, so. So now we have this clear as mud, let's start over. We'll just exit from what we've done and then let's clearly make a motion, please.
Well, after all of my nonsensical talk, I don't know what my motion was. Okay.
To accept Mr.
To-
Markeren as the finance director and reviewed in 6 months.
I make a motion to accept Mr. Markeren as the financial director and review in that dual position in 6 months. Because I want to make it clear that we're having a dual position.
I wonder if we need to clarify that there's no pay involved in that, like I'm not getting paid for both.
I don't think we need to in the motion, but I think in the minutes we could have that, correct?
I would probably
I know.
put it in the
We're just-
motions.
Yeah,
That's what so we rescinded the motion. We did all of that. Correct. So we didn't go into, but
So how, let's let Mr. Micron reiterate what he is willing to do. And you can put the wages in that statement.
I am willing to take on the role of administrator, continue the role of finance director at the pay negotiated for the administrator role.
and if you want to, I don't want to put words in your mouth, if you want to make that your motion.
please include that with my motion.
Second that, so. Yeah. And then this will go to the full board also. But I think when we take it to the full board, it's gonna make it all one. Because at that time, it's a week from today and we'll be smarter by then.
Yeah, we will. You're asking.
Okay,
Okay, so Mike Markren will take on the county administrator and continue as finance director for the county administrator pay. Motion by Stacy Hassel, second by Ron Buckholz to accept Mike Markren as the county finance director in the dual role of finance director and county administrator for 6 months to be reviewed in December by this committee. Admin, again, first, okay. So that would be the motion, I guess. That sounds right.
Thank you so much, Liz, for helping us through that.
you're good with that. You're good with that.
I'm great with that. Thank you.
So now we have a motion by Ms. Cecil, second by Mr. Buckles on the floor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
About that, Mike, but we can't see any gray hairs on
Okay. Number 17, board appointments and committee updates. I'm gonna go on to 18 because the 18 is important to me. Correspondence reports and conference and meetings. We have meeting for county board members coming up at Kalahari and the Wisconsin Dells on September 21 through 23. If someone wants to go, that's fine. Do we, as the committee, want to set a limit of how many people can go? That's a question.
Well, yeah, we should have a limit on it. But there's only usually like, have any,
not that many go. Last time it was me, Stacy,
And Tweed didn't show.
and Tweed didn't show, and then Lynn was down there. So I think we should make it a limit. And I will go in to, if you don't want to go to represent the county, if you don't want to do it.
Okay.
So,
Can I say that, I mean, I appreciate the thought of making it a limit just for financial sake, but I think we have a lot of new members that it would benefit. And no other county, I mean, there was a lot of counties that had their full board there. So I don't think you want to limit it because it's a learning opportunity. But I do think that there should be something set that if you back out and we still have to pay because you didn't show up, I think there should still be a conversation about that before we go. But I do like the idea of it being a learning opportunity, especially for our new board members, because I felt like I didn't go until last year, but if I would have went my first year, I think I would have probably saved a lot of energy in my communication skills. So I like the idea of having it open to all, especially the new people.
yeah, I guess we just don't put no limit on it, I guess.
So that's what I'm asking. That's why I want everybody's opinion.
So,
I think even if you encourage people to go, we have limited attendance, but I mean, if you're not gonna encourage people, say nothing, I just don't think a lot of people will go, I think you give 2 or 3. It is.
I believe you have to leave it as a whole, just because, I guess you could say, lack of a better way of putting it. So that they all have everyone has the opportunity to say, well, we're only limited to 5 or 6, and it's like, well, I get the whole board going.
Although if you limit it, it may get people more attracted. Scares.
Okay, so we'll leave it for open enrollment. The county will just have to see how many people want to go. We need to have people signed up early so we can get our discount.
so are you gonna go, Mr. Chairman?
No, I'm not.
Okay, Liz, I'll go to represent Sawyer County in Ron's place.
So what I have seen, and it was only 1 or 2 times so far, those emails go to everybody. So you all get the emails. There's a form you fill out. Some of those forms include what sandwich you want or what tours you want to go on, if there's different activities. So what would be great is if everybody filled out their own forms and gave them to me at the time so that I can go ahead and do it. But to leave it to me, like what's been done by some people, they oh, sign me up for that. Well, I don't know if you want the kosher meal or I mean, it's like you have to pick there's more to it than just saying you're going. So what we should do is I could print out all the forms and bring them to these meetings and we could start collecting them that way. I mean, we could bring them to all these committees and that way if people get the idea they want to go, they can fill the form out, then have a deadline to turn the form in to me. So there's no late people. Something like that.
Forever doing that.
Yeah.
Because Liz's been doing it for you. Okay.
No, I mean, when Lynn was in there, I mean, she asked who was going, who was gonna go, who was gonna attend, and then she booked the rooms for us. And then we gotta try to book a car through the county because they
Yeah,
don't take
so-
their own.
The last one that we had was only one person signed up to go to it and you had to select all of these choices. And then I also booked the car and then that person didn't go. So that's a repeating problem too. So if someone's going to go, they should go because we pay the registration fee. Some of that stuff's not refundable.
I think with the situation that you had was different than this conference because the conference they don't ask us our food.
Okay.
So the conference is different. The annual conference is different than like a legislative day at the state or Northwest Regional Planning Annual Conference. Like, I think the annual conference is more, the room has to be booked before they run out and then the registration. But there is that same issue that you had with people not showing up when we've already paid. So I think there should be a deadline. I like that idea. But there wasn't a form that I saw on this one. It was just, you had to book your room early because, and then what Lynn had done in the past was booked like 6 rooms or something. So we all got at the same hotel, which would be great to get at the Kalahari so we don't have to drive again because parking was horrible last time. But
Yeah.
so it was just those kind of group
Well, so
bookings?
then earlier is better because the conferences I've signed up for, the rooms go right away. So if you all want to be together and be at Kalahari, we shouldn't wait till August, till the early bird discount runs out, because the
Right.
rooms will go faster than that.
Right.
I would actually like to see it happen next Thursday if that's possible. Okay.
And that's why we put it on the agenda, so we would talk about this.
Yeah.
And get it out, and, maybe we
Okay.
should book X amount of rooms, and we can always cancel some.
Okay, I have the county board card, so there's no problem with me making those reservations. And then the only other thing is if you want to drive those fleet cars or drive your own car, and that's, that's another thing. I know that talking to Tim Hagberg, they don't like those fleet cars to be gone for 3 or 4 days because they don't have that many in HHS and whoever uses those. So, I mean, I don't know if you want a carpool or people drive separate or how that would work.
Well, I know you used the county car last time. I did not.
I did, yes. I used county car last time.
But
The
could
time
I,
before that, I used my own and I put down mileage, but what I was told and it was brought up that they didn't want us to use our own vehicles for the mileage. They wanted us to use the county fleet cars. So that's what we've been doing.
That's what I thought was put up. Preferred to use the common car.
Yes.
Interesting.
Because,
Right.
We did relax that at the end of 22. So we do allow for people to use their own car. And in fact, if you're bringing a spouse, we kind of ask that you do
Yeah,
because
you have
we
to-
don't have non-employees or
Not a county car.
you can,
They're supposed to.
you can.
they just can't go to all of the same stuff you attend. They can go, like a lot of county administrators bring their wives, but they don't go to any of the county stuff. They just meet after. Could I make a suggestion that we just, if Lynn or Liz could put out a reminder and then ask if they're using their own car or a fleet car, or what, can you guys work on that if you wouldn't mind? Or how do you want to do it?
That's fine, I mean,
Okay,
we can just ask and I know that things change, but I'd like everybody to get signed up by this coming Thursday when we have our county board meeting. And I also know things come up in the meantime after that. So maybe we should say the county's gonna pay for it unless you have an emergency in like the last 3 days or something.
Right.
Or something you can't control. But if you just decide not to show up, you gotta refund us.
So I'm gonna go, Liz.
at this time, I'm planning to go, yes. I just haven't had the brain capacity to figure it out in my schedule, but yeah.
And then we'll ask at the county board. Okay,
Send an email.
Yeah.
I'll make it sound good. I mean, that's actually pretty interesting. Like if you bring a spouse, they have a bus trip to go on tours. They have stuff to do.
they have meals, the meals is for the spouse also.
Well, it's different at each place each year. Oh.
So what did you say, the spouses included in the meals?
The paperwork I got, at least that's the way I read it anyway.
get a spouse. That's awesome.
All right, I'll stay safe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna put this on the county board agenda also, and you know why. All right, future agenda items. Again, if somebody doesn't have something now, that's fine, but if you come up with something prior to the next meeting, certainly contact us, we'll try to get it on the agenda. Thank you for your valuable time, meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
Yep, going to the conference now.
But I know